time-taking process because I take all the effort to see that you get different features of them, and that takes time. Whereas if you actually read on your own, then slowly you can easily get onto the control. Okay, so recording also has started, and then I will just begin the session. Okay. Today, to begin with, I'm just giving a small break to the commands. Maybe we may come back if required. But actually, we'll go into the shell now. Shell, even though we have been using it in different ways, but remember, all those facilities, whatever that we are getting while executing the command, it is a shell that is helping us. And in our context, we are using born again shell. So it is called a BASH. But there are a number of other shells as well. So the purpose of all the shells is to give an environment to the user to execute the commands, right? And that's the main thing, basically. But apart from that, a lot of other features are there, which we will take a look into slowly, one by one. Even though we might be using all those things, but there are certain names. So what is the one that is actually giving you all those facilities and all that, right? So to begin with, in a very simple manner, what it is, the shell actually provides a number of expansions. No doubt, it's going to read a line of command, right? One entire line it's going to read. That line is likely to contain the command and the arguments, options, everything, whatever is required by the user. The user is going to submit all that. But apart from that, it also gives you many other facilities. So what are those things? Let us take a look into that. Right. So these are some of the expansions actually. Like we have been doing that. So what is meant by expansion? Let me give you a simple example of that particular thing. So here, right now I am in which directory? It is in TSR home directory. So let me go into the network programming directory, MP folder. So when I give ls, yes, this is what it is. The command what you have submitted is ls to the shell, and shell is executing that, no doubt. But when you say ls followed by star txt, right? Star txt, let us say. So now the shell is receiving ls star txt as input, no doubt. But before executing the command ls, it expands this particular star txt. The star txt is expanded to all the matching file names, right, in the directory corresponding to this. What do you mean by matching and all that? This is actually a path name expansion. This facility is called as path name expansion. So it's going to read all the files and folders that are present in the directory and then try to match those file names, files and folders present with this particular regular expression. This is what is called as a kind of a regular expression. Star means it is going to match with anything. And then txt. That means it is looking for all the files ending with txt. That's why you can see here, it is reporting only all this. Remember, it is not ls that is actually giving you the txt files alone. ls is going to give a status or list of all the files that you have submitted. But to submit the file names, either you can type on your own the entire names, all the names you can type in, right? All the names you can type in as if in this particular manner. For example, months.txt, like this you can type in anyhow. Like this you can always type in. So specifically you are actually saying that these are the three things. You have typed all those things. And ls is going to get these things as a command line arguments. Right? These file names, whatever I am typing, they become the command line arguments to the command ls. And then it's going to access those command line arguments and then give a reporting of all the files, all the file names or whatever. Whereas when you give minus L, ls minus L, right? So in this particular manner, then it's going to give you a long listing of all that. But these commands, they don't actually expand the file name. They don't perform the expansions. Expansions are performed by the shell. Right? So when you are giving like this, the shell is helping the user to choose the file names of your interest by giving a kind of a regular expression, by giving a kind of a pattern. Right? So I'm not interested in all the files. I'm interested in those files which match this particular pattern. And in the pattern case, there are some meta characters. Star is going to match with anything, including nothing also, empty. So that means essentially it's going to like expand this ls star txt with all that. In order to test any of these expansions, the best command for learning the expansions, all these different kinds of expansions, is there is a command called echo command. Echo command doesn't do anything. It only displays all the command line arguments. Echo command displays all the command line arguments that are passed to that. And command line arguments are not expanded by the echo. We know that. Just now we said that all the like whatever commands that you are going to type in, it's going to be taken by the shell. It's going to read, like the shell is going to read the line what you are entering, and then performs different expansions first before running the command. Even before running the command, it's going to expand all types of expansions, whatever we are going to discuss. One among them happens to be path name expansion. That means, so when like you have the meta characters now, star, question mark also is there. Question mark will match any single character, whereas star will match any group of consecutive characters, any number. Similarly, you have a square bracket in order to match with only, for example, echo. So like this, a square bracket begin, you can actually give it. And then let us say, and then like A2, like A, for example, hyphen also can be given in this particular square bracket case. A hyphen M, and then you give a star, let us say, right? So here, whenever you give within the square bracket, you can type in any of the characters, whatever. And when you say A hyphen M, meaning that, so that square bracket begin, A hyphen M, square bracket end. So that pattern is going to match with any single character which is present in the range from A to M. It will match either with A or with B or with and so on with matches with M. That means it's going to pick up all the files starting with A to M and then followed by anything, because you are using star there. It's going to match with anything there, like the moment you do that. Now you can see here, so what it is expanding. So args2.sh, because star matches with everything, not only txt. You are not talking about txt now. So essentially you are listing all the files starting with letters from A to M, from A to M. So, or you can also specify like this, you can give a range. In fact, there is another thing like here, which is called as a not, a negate. So it may not be not there actually, probably a caret symbol. Let me see. So what it is going to actually do that. So when you give a caret symbol now, and then give it like this. As you can see, it is listing all the files not starting with ATM, not starting with A to M. So within the square brackets, if we give if the very first character is a caret symbol, that is called as caret symbol, CARET, the character that is available on the digit 6 pine unde character matter. So whenever you are interested in the files not matching with something, then this particular symbol you are going to use. So whereas if you don't have that caret symbol, then anything that matches with that particular thing. So this is another thing. Square bracket pattern, star is one pattern, and then there is another thing called question mark. Question mark also is there as a part of it. So for example, I'm interested in all the whatever txt files. In case you are interested, you can always say that txt like. So for example, let me see what we have here, and after that, based on that, we can decide. So not echo ls, ls is what we are interested. Like or is there or whatever and all that particular thing. Okay. Question mark context is actually like ops hyphen question mark ops hyphen 2 record. Question mark will match basically with any character actually. The second character can be anything, and after that there should be something there. For example, let us see. So arcs probably. So you are saying arcs is there, and then a question mark, and then one more question mark. Let us say, right, followed by a dot and sh. Let us say. Right. So that means what it means now. So it is going to expand with all the file names that start with args, that start with args, and after that there should be two characters. Because of the first question mark, that character can be anything. Second question mark, that also can be anything. Followed by dot sh. That means essentially, like there should be 5 characters in the file name or 6 there, args followed by 2 characters, and then a dot sh. So as you can see, there are only 2 such files. So 2 such files are there as a part of it. So question mark will match with any character in that particular place. So this is what is called as path name expansion. This path name expansion, what you are actually talking about here, this is what we are actually doing. So we will now go through the other expansions as well. But remember, when you are using let us say different types of expansion, then what is the order in which these expansions are expanded by the shell? The order is going to be like this. First, it's going to always expand the brace expansion, and after that tilde expansion, if at all it is there. The next is the parameter or variable expansion. The next one is the arithmetic expansion. The next one is the command substitution. And the next one is path name expansion. Actually, word splitting anyhow is not an expansion part. So it's going to only split the entire line into different words. Right? So words delimited by mostly the white space character. So path name now you have understood to some extent. So later you read and practice, you should be able to complete it. Now brace expansion is a part of the bash actually, born again shell. It was not there in the earlier born shell as such, but still let us see. It's going to be very useful feature, no doubt about it. So how we can actually understand this brace expansion, let us see. So whenever you want to generate certain words, you see path name expansion, it is going to only give you the list of the files that match that particular pattern. That means files must be there. The files must be there, which is going to match with that pattern what you are going to give it. Whereas you want to generate certain patterns, certain words. Not necessarily that the files must be there with that particular word names. So you want to generate certain patterns. For example, you want to generate numbers from 1 to 10. Then the curly brace expansion or brace expansion is going to be handled. How are you going to do that? You see, I am only using echo in order to understand. But these expansions are done by the shell. It can be used against any of the command, not necessarily with echo alone. Right? With any of the commands you can always use. And we are only using echo to verify that, because echo doesn't do anything except that whatever command line arguments that are passed to it are going to be printed. And command line arguments need not be typed as it is by the user, but the user can enter the expansion features so that the shell will expand all those appropriate things and then generate all the arguments required for the command to be executed. So curly brace here, you have something like you want to generate 1 to 10. So then the corresponding thing is in this particular manner. Curly brace begin, the first number 2 dots, second number. Starting number 2 dots, ending number. And what is to be done? You have to give a curly brace there. So the moment you do this, then it's going to generate all those things. Whereas if you by any chance give the same thing now to the command like ls. So when you do like this, what is that it is going to do it? This entire command now is expanded to ls followed by 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on 10. And when you give ls followed by 1, 2, 3 and so on, it's going to now verify whether is there a file by name 1. If it is there, then it's going to give you. If it is not there, it will complain, saying that there is no such file as 1, there is no such file as 2, and so on. So you can see now, ls cannot access 1, no such file or directory. Right? So you need to understand what you are actually doing. Whereas for the case of echo, it doesn't do anything. So whatever the arguments that you are supplying, they will be printed as it is. So that's the reason why to learn the expansion features and all that, echo is a very good command. Right? So in that particular manner, you can always use the curly brace expansion. So you have the starting number, ending number, and then in case you want step value also, you can specify. Another 2 dots, step value, 1, and then steps of 2. That means the next number must be 3, and then 5, and so on, like that. So you can see 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, like this. Right? So in case you want to have something like 10, and then below numbers and all that, that is also possible. The starting number must be 10, whereas ending number must be 1, let us say. So like this also you can give. So it is intelligent enough that yes, your starting number is bigger, ending number is small. So that means you have to start reducing, not increasing the value. So 10, 9 and so on like this. So step value you don't have to give it. But in case you want to give a step value also you can. Even though you are giving a positive number here, but it is reducing by that particular value. Because if the starting number is bigger, ending number is smaller, it already knows that you have to reduce the numbers to arrive at that particular thing. So it is 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and so on like that. So because after 2 it's going to be 0, but 0 is not a part of that 10 to 1 as a part of it. But this you can also use the same things not only for the numbers but even for the like ASCII characters. For the ASCII characters also you can actually use. For example, A to M. You would like to have a part of it. So then it's going to generate all those letters, whatever that you actually have it. But you can also give all capital letters kind of thing. So whatever the kind of this thing, then it's going to give all this. Even here, you can actually give in steps of 2, 3 or whatever. So all those things are possible. So this is what is called as brace expansion. This is very handy, especially when you want to create a number of folders or you want to create a number of files with empty files or whatever. So then you because you are generating the file names and then you can issue some command there. Maybe there is a command called touch command. There is a command called touch using which you can create empty files. Just simply specify the file name. It is going to create an empty file. So let me create, for example, so NP is there. Right, and these are the things what we have. So for example, there is a command called make dir, right? All of you know that. So make dir is a command to create the directories. To create the directories. So in case you have, let us say, you have some requirement, let us say, you want to create some folders, right? So those folders you can directly specify by using curly brace. So earlier one, what we are doing is that is called a sequences, starting value to ending value and so on. So that is sequence anyhow. Instead of that, you can also list the different values there. For example, you want to create a personal folder. You want to create a personal folder. You also want to create images folder, let us say. You also want to create videos folder, right? All these folder names you are actually specifying. Curly brace, yes. After this, for example, in each and every folder, you want to create maybe like another three folder names, let us say. Three folder names. Maybe those folders can be anything like some example 1, example 2, example 3. So that kind of stuff, right? So you can say like example stands for, let me say, just simply EX. EX followed by a hyphen also you want. A folder. EX followed by a hyphen. And after this, 3 folders only you want. So you can say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. First of all, before executing the make dir now, you verify, as just now I said, always verify these expansions with the echo command, so that what you are doing, you will know as such. So you are using the curly brace now. There are 3 different names, and then a slash, and another 3 different things. So it need not be 3 here. So internal thing can be even 4 or whatever, right? So when you give like this, as you can see, it is saying personal slash ex1, personal slash ex2, personal slash ex3, personal slash ex4. And then images. So like this, in case you want to create all these folders very quickly, if there is such a requirement, right? So you can pass on these things to make dir, right? So when you give make dir here, mkdir, because mkdir can be passed with any number of arguments, and it's going to create the directories with those arguments. But let us see here, there may be some issue there which we will talk about. So cannot create the directory personal by ex-1. No such file or directory. Because makedir is now expecting already personal directory must have been there to create, like as you can see, what is to be done here? You must create a personal directory, and after that you should create the internal directories like ex-1, ex-2, and so on in that particular manner. So for that also there is an option for makedir to create all the directories along. So here it's not only you have to create personal. After creating personal, you have to create ex1. So in case you say only like create personal images, videos, it's going to do that. Whereas you have to create this and internal directories also you have to create. So to create the directory and all the internal directories, everything, you have the option for that. I'll show you. So what is the option corresponding to that? You can see here -p, no error if existing. Make parent directories as needed. See, make parent directories as needed. So when you are creating a personal slash ex-1, for ex-1, parent directory is personal. Personal itself is not there. So default is it's not going to create. Whereas if you use -p, make parent directories as needed. So that also is going to do that. So right now, if you see, nothing is there, right? Nothing is there. No personal directory, no images directory, nothing of that particular kind. Whereas now, if you want to create really all of them, use a hyphen here, -p. -p like this. Then it's going to create the parent directory. Like what you are actually asking is to create personal slash ex-1. Parent directory personal is not there. So that's why it is a complaint. So when you use minus P, it's going to create the personal directory also and then create the ex1 directory inside that. So now it doesn't actually give you any error. And when you see like what is there, what are the files and all that, you can see here there are 3 folders that it has created: personal, images, and videos. And what do you have in those things? For example, images folder. What do you have? You have all these 4 folders: ex-1, 2, 3, and 4. Like this, in case you want to create a number of directories or files or whatever, if you know what is the pattern with which the corresponding files are to be created, this can be used for any purpose. Essentially, it's going to generate a list of words having certain pattern by using sequences or comma separated things, and any number of such things is possible as a part of it. If you want to remove these things, right? So you already know it. So when you say remove followed by images folder, it says cannot remove images. Images is a directory because inside the images there are further directories. So if you want to remove a directory, you have to normally use rmdir. That is another thing. So you can do that. But when you want to remove this, directory must be empty. Whereas right now directory contains further directories. In such cases, there is an option called -r. Right? Recursively remove each one. -r. Rm -r. Followed by images. But it is a very dangerous command, -r, because it doesn't, it's going to remove everything, starting from this particular images folder, down below, any subfolders, files, everything, whatever is there, recursively it's going to remove each one. But one should be careful. So what all I'm saying is that there is a facility like that also. And when you list it now, images folder is gone. Videos, personal, and so on, like that. So we can always remove personal folder and also videos folder. Both of them also can be given directly in this particular manner. So when you remove like this and all that. So this is about what it is, brace expansion. There is a lot more, like you experiment, then you can learn. So me giving all kinds of things on your behalf is going to take a lot of time, and we don't know whether you are really paying attention to all that and so on. So there is much more actually. That's why I'm actually saying that. So for example, you have a comma e comma I, AEI, and then like 1 to 5, and then let us say the last one is something else, like we can say 1 to 5, and then we are talking about another maybe 1 to 3, let us say 1 to 3. So what it does is, now if you see AEI, the first set contains 3 characters, second set contains 5, actually 1 to 5, so third one contains 3, 1 to 3. The total number of words that it generates is a multiplication of all of them actually. So what it does is, it's going to generate, it's going to pick up A first from this set, one from the second set, another one from the third set, so that it generates a word called A11. And after that it generates A12 and A13 and then A21, A23 and so on, like that. So you can see here it's generating like all possible combinations. A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A34, A4, A5. After A exhausting, then E starts. Right? So you have to experiment and then see and how you can use these features in your shell programming and all that. Your shell programming ultimately is nothing but how much knowledge you have on these things. Then you are going to put all these commands, everything into a file and ask it to run. That's all. So we are now preparing a ground for writing shell programs. But without the knowledge of these things, you cannot write useful shell program, basically. You can write a small shell program always, without all this also probably. But to be more useful kind of things, you require proper background. Anyhow, so this is what is called as brace expansion. So we have done that. And then the next one is called as tilde expansion. Tilde symbol is nothing but, so what is the tilde symbol? The one on the letter next to digit 1. So this is the tilde symbol. This one is your tilde symbol. This is what it is. So tilde stands for actually the home directory. Tilde stands for the home actually. You can use any combination of all these expansions. You don't have to use only one expansion in one command and all that, right? They will all be done. So when you use a tilde like this, so it says /home/tsr. Essentially the home directory of the current user. That's what it really means. But tilde can also be used. After tilde, you can specify the username. After tilde, you can specify the user. For example, I don't know what users are allowed in this particular thing. So these are the things. Different home directories are there for different things. For example, for mail user, the home directory is /var/mail. For man pages, it is /var/cache/man. For bin, it is all that. Root, the corresponding thing is /root. /root is there. For MySQL, there is no home directory for MySQL here. For TSR /home/tsr is there as a part of it. And other things, we can always do that. Because this is only being used by me, only one user is there. But you can actually use tilde followed by, just now we have seen mail. There is a user called mail. So when you use tilde followed by any username, then it's going to display or it's going to expand actually. It's expanding. Your shell is expanding tilde mail with the home directory of the user mail. Home directory of the user mail. In case it gives something not existing, then it is going to display that as it is, no expansion. There is no user like mails, and tilde mails will remain as tilde mails only. If at all it is meaningful only, those things will be expanded, remember. If they are not meaningful, whatever that you enter will be there as it is. Right? It doesn't disturb any of that particular thing. So when you give, for example, MySQL, non-existent, that's what is actually typed there. So that's why you are actually adding. So tilde is a very simple mechanism, tilde followed by that. But it has got many more things. So let me not go into those details. For a simplicity, tilde has got this little use. You can use in this particular fashion. For example, you want to know tilde slash, and after that slash, you can say followed by np. So it is going to give like this. Whereas you want to list all the files and folders present in that. So you can say tilde followed by /np, right? In that particular manner. So whereas you want to give the same thing against the root. So what are the files that are present in the root directory, in the home directory of the root user? So you can say, whereas because the root user is not allowing, is not giving permissions to even find out what you have there and all that. So permission denied. So it is understandable. So for that actually, in case you are the owner of the computer and all that, but you are working with a normal user, but you want to see the permissions there and all that. So it is possible, in fact, by using another concept called something called sudo command. So temporarily you can become a super user kind of it, and then still get all the permissions. So you can say here, for that, in fact, your user, whatever the user with which you are currently working on, it must have a sudo facility. So it must have a sudo facility. So there is a file, one of the file is there where you have to add like your username to the sudo list. So by giving the password here, you are not giving the password of the root, you are giving the password of the TSR itself. By giving the password of the TSR itself, you can actually do that. So now it is actually displaying there is only one file called snap file in that particular folder. So by using a sudo command, you can temporarily switch to other what it is, get the permissions of the other user and then still do all this. Anyhow, so that is about the tilde expansion. And after that, variable and parameter expansions. This is another useful thing. Variables, right? How do you assign variables and all that? There are so many variables that are already there, in fact. So, for example, how to know that? So, you can just simply say there is a command called set, which is going to display all the variables with their corresponding values. And I'm just passing it on to the left so that it's going to display screen by screen. So, these are the different variables and the values. So, for example, there is a variable called bad. What is its value? Its value is /bin/bad. There is another variable called bash args, and it has got all these things. Bash aliases, bash argc, like this. There's so many things. Bash version, if you want to find out, all those things are there. Class path for Java programming and all that. Columns, 75 columns. So dir stack is empty right now. Display is all this, right? Groups. So home, there is a variable called home, and it is initialized with like this. So, and language is so and so. Input the field separator. IFS stands for input field separator. What is the value of this? The value of this is, yesterday we have seen like anything that you quote within this preceded with $. So is a useful facility. So input field separator right now is either a space, a tab, or a new line. Or a new line there as a part of it. So like this, there are so many variables that are there. But we also can create one variable and then find out. For example, let me see A is equal to 100, B equal to 12. There should not be any space in between, remember. If you give C or maybe D or whatever, and then equal to 23 like this, then it's going to give you an error. Because the moment you give a space, then it understands that the first one is a command. And then the arguments and all that. So like that it goes. So that's why whenever you want to initialize any variable in shell, you must type the entire thing at a stretch without any spaces in between. So right now A, B also are there. Now if you just take a look into set followed by like this. So let us see whether they are a part of this or not. Several other things it's actually showing. Shell also provides like a facility by which you can get to know the functions and all that particular thing anyhow. So A and B anyhow they are already there. Now let us go into the expansion part and all that. So to learn all that, just now we said we use echo command to learn very easy. So what it is going to do and all that. So variables we have already initialized with some values, and whenever you want to expand a variable, right, we use the dollar symbol. So you can't just, because directly if you say A here, it doesn't know. Echo A means it echoes A only. Right? That is the normal behavior. Whereas in case you are interested in the value of the variable A, then you have to precede that with dollar. Right? $A means the value of the variable A. That's what you really mean by it. And $B. Right? You can always do that. So then, like as you can see, the shell is reading that and then started expanding that. In case you give like $D, right? A variable that's not there, it doesn't complain anything, but it will just simply replace that with empty kind of thing. So $D is replaced with empty because there is nothing there as a part of it. So like this, variables can be initialized and they can be expanded if required. No issue. No issue there as a part of it. So this is one. And you can also give, in fact, like these variables and all that sometimes can be can be included inside the curly braces, dollar curly brace, not the normal curly brace. Remember, like this also you can actually do that. So when you do like this, 100 like a dollar curly brace and all that, immediately you are typing, let us say something here, what it is, post, right? And here also something often, like this. In case you do this, right? So what do you see here? $A is replaced by 100 and then post and all that, right? So this is possible. Whereas, so if you remove this, for example, right? If you remove like this, then it becomes, you understand what is the ambiguity there. What is the ambiguity there? Because $A post means it tries to actually substitute the value of the variable A post, not $A and then post. Right? In such cases, whenever you want to expand a variable, and immediately after that, without a space, you want something to be added, in such cases, the curly brace is going to be handy. So now our interest is to display 100 immediately followed by post without a space in between. Whereas if you give like this, yes, you get that, but 100 and then a space you are going to get. You don't want to get a space, for example. In such cases, the curly brace is going to be handy here. So you can see here like this and then do like this. So curly brace is going to be helpful to expand a variable and immediately followed by something, whatever that you would like to, is going to be handy there. So that is the use of the curly brace. We have got many other things as well. Let me so far we have seen the variable. This is about a variable. There is something called parameters. You can send the parameters to a shell program. Just like command line arguments you send to a program, you can also send these command line arguments to the shell program also. Then they become the parameters actually. They are called as parameters to the shell program. The parameters can be set even at the shell level, like at the interactive shell level also. For example, set followed by A and then 1 to 10 or maybe 20, 1 to 20. A 1 to 20. So what do you mean by this? It is actually setting all the command line arguments or the parameters. Like the first parameter is A1, second one is A2, third one is A3, and so on like this. How to know what are the parameters right now that are set and all that? You can always use the echo command, right? You can always use the echo command. Echo followed by $. If you want to access the first parameter, you say $1. First parameter. If you want to access the 8th parameter, you can say $8. If you want to access the, let us say, 15th parameter, you say $15. Let us say, we don't know whether it's really going to work or not, but let us try it out. So when you do like this, as you can see, you are getting A1, A8, and A15. And A15. So it so happen it is working in fact here. It should not actually, in my view, but anyhow, let us see later on, within the program context and so on, because all these commands, they are always enhanced. So you think certain things and certain things are to be done in one way, using one particular version. The next version probably they simplify sometimes. This should not come actually A1, $1 is okay. $1 is expanded with parameter 1. $8 is expanded with parameter 8. $15 is expanded with parameter 15. It should not actually, strictly speaking, because this $15 is going to be expanded by default with $1. Oh, it's not working. It's actually slightly confusing. I will tell you why. Like it's not even now. It's not working actually. So here $1 is expanded with A1, and A1 immediately followed by 5 actually. So I will show you like why it is not going to work. Like there is a okay. So this is not the correct way. Like for that, let me do in a slightly different way here. For example, A curly brace begins 1 to 9, right? 1 to 9. What's going to happen now? So it is actually like 9 parameters it's going to get A1, A2, and so on, A9. And after that, let us say B followed by 1, 2, followed by another 9 items. Another 9 items. Altogether, 18 items are there right now. And then C followed by another 9 items. 27 items. 27 parameters are set actually. If you want to know, I think all of you are already following. Like I assume that. So whenever you have a doubt, you always do in this particular fashion. So that set followed by that is equivalent to set followed by A1, A2, and so on, A9, B1, B2, and so on, B9, and so on. Like that. So 27 parameters are set right now. But if you want to expand, for example, now like this, $1, $8, $15. Let us see now. Now you will see the actual whatever that I planned. You are going to see that. So if you see here, $1, the first parameter is A1, no issue. $8, the 8th parameter is AA, no issue. $15, when you are saying, just now we said the parameters as far as that is concerned, only the first digit only it's going to consider. So it's not considering $15 here, it is considering $1 and expanding that $1 with A1. $1 is expanded with A1. And then immediately followed by 5. It's not giving you $15 actually. It's giving you $1 followed by 5. So that is a limitation of parameter expansion. But if you really want 15th parameter only, then the curly brace again is going to help you. You have to put a curly brace here. So it is the 15th one in which you are actually interested, like this. Then, as you can see, A1, A8, B6. B6 is your 15th parameter. So, especially when the parameter number is has more than a single digit, then it is you have to use the curly brace inside that. Then, otherwise, it interprets as if $1 followed by 5. If you want $15 meaning, then curly brace followed by 15 and then curly brace ends. Like that, you will have to actually use. So this is about variable expansion. But here, in fact, you also have the what you call arrays and all that. Array concept is there. You can, for example, let me see like how we can actually do that. Some primes. Let me say primes equal to. If you want a number of values to be stored into the variable, and you call that as an array, right? So array facility is there in bash. Here, primes equal to, when you want to initialize with multiple values, you have to use a parenthesis here actually. This parenthesis you have to use. So here 2, then 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. Let us say these are the prime numbers right up to 20. So you initialize that. You have initialized primes array. But how to print the different values there and all that? So for that, parameter expansion like again is going to be handled. So here, so you have to use dollar and then primes. If you just simply say like this, it is actually displaying only the first value within the array. Any array name reference to that, you are going to get only the first value, not all of them. If you want to display all of them, then again the curly brace is going to be handy here, curly brace here as a part of it. And you are interested in any specific thing, right? In any specific index or whatever, you can always use the square bracket to give you the index. For example, you are interested in the fourth prime number, right? Fourth prime number. So you can do here, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the arrays are indexed with 0 in the match. So primes of 0 is 2, primes of 1 is 3, and so on, primes of 4 is 11. So whenever you want to display an indexed item from an array, we use a curly brace again as a part of it. So dollar curly brace, and then use your normal notation, what you do normally in C language and all that. Your variable, square bracket begin, index value, and all that. Like this, we can always do that. Whereas you have many other features here, in fact. If you want to display all of them, all the values, we use a star here. Within the square bracket, instead of giving the index number, you are using a star here. So when you queue like this, then it's going to display all of them, right? All of them are going to be displayed as a part of it. So in case you are interested in the index values, not the actual values, but rather the index values, right? In case you are interested in that, use a not here. Then as you can see, you are only getting the indexes. You have a value in the index 0, you have a value in index 1, and so on, value in index 7. The actual values are 2, 3, 5, 7. Index values are 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Like this, there are so many features that are there as a part of the shell. This variable and parameter expansion is a slightly elaborate one. There are so many features, which is a time-consuming process to explain and all that. But better you go through it. They are really going to be very helpful. They are really going to be very helpful. So arrays concept is like this. So you can store the arrays also there as a part of it. We'll come to that a little later, but let us see the other features as well. So parameter and variable expansion we have seen. How you can actually do that and so on. The next one is arithmetic expansion. You can do the calculations and all that, and then substitute that particular calculated value there as a part of it. So for that, you have something called dollar followed by two values. For example, echo followed by. Now we are talking about arithmetic expansion. So for that arithmetic expansion, so when you give 4 plus 7, let us say, like this. So what is happening here? The dollar followed by two parentheses, two brackets, two parentheses actually, and then expression. So the arithmetic expansion is actually going to begin with dollar followed by two parentheses, and then the expression and whatever that you would like to. So can you actually give probably a complex expression here? Let us see, by any chance, can you give like this, right? So you can give all the complex expressions as well. 4 plus 7 times 5, 7 5s are 35 plus 4 is 39. So all those things, whatever that you would like to, you just put that entire your arithmetic expression, put it inside dollar parentheses. In the old versions, in fact, the same thing used to work with a single square bracket here, like this. But it is already a caution is given to the users not to use this old style. Old style is dollar square bracket for doing the arithmetic calculation. New style is dollar parentheses. This old style is likely to be removed after some time. This feature is going to be removed. That's why better you use dollar two parentheses as a part of it. So any kind of, but remember, like it only allows you what it is, integer arithmetic. It doesn't understand the real numbers and all. It is a very simple facility that is actually provided. So you can see here the moment you put a dot there and all that, it is saying invariant arithmetic operator and all that. So in case you want the like real number arithmetic and all that, then your BC bench
Bench calculator.
calculator is going to be okay. Any questions there?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Huh. All right. So if you want to do like a real number calculation and all that, you can always perform this in this particular manner. For example, if you want the same calculation, probably it's not remembering, right? Okay. You want the same calculation, even this 4.5 and all that, echo this particular thing. You pipe it, pass it on this to the BC, pass it on to the bench calculator. Then that's going to take care of it, 4.5 and all that. So BC is a lot more powerful to do calculations and all that. So you can explore that possibility and all that. So by using a cell features here, a pipe and then echo and all that particular. So one should be careful, like while issuing these meta characters like star and all that, because star is likely to expand to the file names. Sometimes it's better to actually code this particular thing, so that you are suppressing the meaning of the star by proceeding with a reverse slash. So then also you are going to get the same thing as a part. So this is your arithmetic expansion. Arithmetic expansion is straightforward. Dollar parenthesis begin, expression followed by right. So in case you want to do some calculation and all that particular thing, you can all and then assign a value to that. You can always do that. For example, like a is equal to dollar, like this, and then your maybe 3 times 8. Like this you can, because what happens now, a equals all that means first this arithmetic expansion will be done, so that 24 you get. So it's going to be equivalent to a equal to 24. It's going to be a equal to 24. Dollar a 24. So that's about the arithmetic calculations there and all that. Arithmetic calculation. So in fact, the bond again shell, BA, has got another feature called let. Actually, there is a command called let. Using the let command, you can this let is taken from the basic language actually. Let followed by a variable equal to something. You can always do that. So let a is equal to, and then 3 times 8. Let a equal to, or 3 times of 8, you say 88, like this. And then what is the value of dollar a now? It is 264, whatever. Whether let is going to allow you to perform a real number, so even let also doesn't allow you that. So essentially the shell allows only integer arithmetic. So let is a very handy one, like very simple. After let, you can use a variable equal to this thing. You can, in fact, initialize many variables at once. For example, let followed by a equal to 23 and b equal to 56 and d equal to 89, like this. Now a, b, d you have, for example, and then echo dollar a. You want to perform all of that, let us say dollar bracket, right, dollar a plus dollar b plus dollar c, dollar c bracket like that. This is error. Operand expected error token is plus 23 plus 56 plus dollar c is not there. Right? That's the problem. So that is becoming empty there. That's why That problem is there. So dollar $A plus and all that. So it is becoming 168 and so on. So essentially, one can use let also to initialize multiple variables with different values there and all that. It's a very handy one, no doubt about it. But that's there in only in born again set. So this is about arithmetic expansion. The next is the command substitution. This is also another kind of expansion. So the meaning of command substitution is you want to execute a command and whatever is the output of that command is going to be substituted in that particular place. Is going to be substituted in that particular place. For example, so the corresponding thing is like this actually. So echo, okay, today's date is, right? And then what are you saying here? Dollar parenthesis begins and then the command. This date is a command here. And that you are putting inside dollar parenthesis. When you do like this, you are going to get today's date is Thursday and all that. No doubt you can use date itself straight away, but you get in this particular form. But you want to display by giving some preamble there. That means today's date is so and so. Like that you want to give. So in such a case now, as you can see, what is happening here? Today's date. This is again an expansion. Your shell is helping so many ways to you. So by just simply saying dollar parenthesis followed by the command, whatever is output of this command is substituted in this place. So that today's date is this particular. If you want, you can continue even after that, not necessarily a single one. And right, tomorrow's date, right, next day, otherwise. Next day is, right, dollar of the command date. For date command, actually, you have the mechanisms by which you can display the next date or the next day and so on like that. So let us try it out. I don't know whether this is going to work or not, but let us see. Date followed by plus there is small syntactical error which we will try next day or plus one day, otherwise plus 1 day. This is going to be wrong most likely, but let us see. The next day is, you are not getting anything there because there is an error kind of thing. So extra operand and all that. But for that, first we have to practice. So the command date properly as a part of it. So for example, man followed by date. How you can actually give the next day some kind of calculation and all that. Next Friday here, minus date equal to so and so. You'll have to give in this particular fashion. Date minus date equal to whatever. And then 9 o'clock next Friday. Next Friday is quote begins here. All that is actually being done. So minus date can be used in that particular fashion. So next Friday. So let us see here minus date, like what is there here. Minus D also can be there. So minus D here. Okay. All right. So date and then minus D. Minus D. And then this particular thing. Next day or plus also can be given probably. Next day. Right. So this is Friday, as you can see. It's giving you the next possible this thing. Or can we give a plus also? Plus 5 days. Right? Plus 5 days. So you are adding 5 days to the current date. You are getting the May 4th kind of thing. So the date has got a lot of other flexibility and all that. It all depends upon how much knowledge you have on a particular thing. You don't have to learn everything, but remember, you have to explore like what are the various possibilities, where and all. And whenever a requirement comes, you know that where the solution is. Then by just simply going into the syntax of that and so on, you can offer the solution there, right? So that is what is knowledge means. You don't have to remember everything, but you should know like where and all the possible solutions, what is possible there and so on. And given a requirement, your thought process should take you to that and then give you a solution in that particular sense. So date followed by this particular. So you can now combine. You can now combine there. So for example, now and the next day is here. You can now specify all that. So here as a part of this minus t, and then plus 1 day. So the next day is so date minus t. Here you may have to put this inside this like this, right? So one should be careful there, and naturally, because after minus d, you have to give that entire thing as a single parameter. That's why you are giving a code there, plus 1 day. So today's date is so and so, the next day is so and so. In that particular fashion, whenever you want, like the command substitution, this is what is called that. You are executing a command and replacing that particular thing with the output of that particular thing. It may be anything, not necessarily date only. If you want to display all the file names and all that, so that's also possible by using, for example, let me give simple like files in the directory, right? And then you want to display the corresponding file. So you say dollar bracket. In order to get the corresponding thing, you can give dollar followed by ls. So it's going to give you all of them. Files in the directory are all of them, that particular order. So they will all be expanded. So essentially as a part of it. In fact, this is there in the earlier shells also, but not in the form of dollar parentheses and all that. It can as well be done by using something called backquote. There is something called backquote. That backquote is there on next to the digit 1 actually. So pay attention to this. So this is also command substitution only, right? Backquote, command, and that particular. So both of them are going to behave the same way. So this is about command substitution. This is about command substitution. Path name expansion we have already seen. Path name expansion we have already seen. So this is in brief about various expansions that are possible, and one can go into that and so on. Any questions you have, I can address. Otherwise, we'll continue the other topic. Any questions? There's a question I said today, like something. What is your question there, Reshma? Like you got the answer in the explanation part?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay. So if you have any questions, we can. Otherwise, let's move on. Move on to the other things as well. Slowly, like let me go into that. We'll take up a small cell program, right? And what it is supposed to do is the following. Some kind of, based on the timing, it's going to welcome with appropriate what you call message, like good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, based on the timing, right? So that is the requirement. So that means you must first find out what is the type, and then based on that, certain things and so on. So slowly, let us go into the control structures. Control structures that are there in like shell, bash, whatever. So they have got their own utility. And beyond that, we also have two important commands called expr and test actually. Expr anyhow in a different way by using arithmetic expansion, you have already got it. There is something called expr. There is a command called expr. Let me show you. So this is the evaluate the expressions. It's a very handy one. This used to be an external command, but now those features are taken into the shell also to do arithmetic calculations and all that. But this is available as an external entity also. expr followed by expression. Right? So what are the various things that are possible here? A number of ways. Argument 1, pipe, argument 2. Then what is the meaning of that? And one can compare whether argument 1 is less than argument 2 or not. Less than or equal, equals. So all these things are possible. You can do arithmetic sum. Argument 1 plus argument 2. Subtraction, multiplication, division. And then modulus. Modulus here. String is a regular expression and all that. Whether matching and all that. Index. Length of a string. So like this, there are several things that are possible here by using the expr. For example, like how you can use the expr can be the following. expr followed by, for example, 12, and then like if you give entire thing as a single thing, 12 times 5, as you know, the entire thing 12 star 5 becomes a single argument. expr is expecting argument 1, operator, argument 2. That means 3 different parameters it expects. So that means 12 and then operator and then like this 12 star 5, right? Whereas what happens is the moment you give expr 12 star 5, the star now becomes a path name expansion actually. Star becomes a path name expansion. So that star is replaced with all the matching file names. So that the actual command becomes, as you know. So what is the actual 12 star this thing is going to become? That you can verify by using 12 echo followed by. So when you issue 12 star 5, it becomes 12 followed by all of them followed by 5. So when you issue like that to the expr by any chance, naturally it's going to give you the error because expr is expecting hardly 3 arguments, whereas you are giving so many things. So it's giving you syntax error. See, our interest is to see that star should be passed as it is to expr, but should not be expanded. So in such a case, you have to code this. You have to code. So that you are telling the shell now, don't expand star, but keep it as it is and pass it on to the expr. Keep it as it is and pass it on to expr. Then you are going to get 60 here. Right? So this is one thing. So you are actually trying to calculate and all that. expr is a very handy command, but it's a very limited thing, strictly speaking, because if you want to do like complex expression, you cannot, because only it expects 3 arguments. It expects only 3 arguments. You cannot pass 12 plus 5 into 7. So that kind of thing. And that is a limitation. It has got its own utility and all that. Utility and all that. This is one thing. There is another command called test command actually. The test command will help you to verify whether something is true or false kind of thing. So what and all that you can actually test, you can see here. Check file types and compare values. Right? You can check the file types. File types means whether it is character special, block special, whether it is a directory, file is a directory or not. So such kind of thing. So how do you do that? Test followed by expression, or you can put that expression within the square bracket. Put that expression within the square bracket. Both are one and the same. What and all you can actually do? These are the various possible expressions. So these are the, you can give one string equal string 2, and it gives you whether they are true or not. And then like these things, integer comparisons, you have integer minus eq integer 2 will be true if both of them are equal, otherwise not, kind of thing. So files also it is possible. Minus d followed by a file. File exists and is a directory. Right? Like this, there are several things in fact. So how to verify that and all that? Let us see. For example, test followed by minus d minus d to verify whether it is a directory or not. Whether it is a directory or not. Marks.txt. It's silent there. It doesn't give you anything. But it actually gives in the form of something called exit value. The test command doesn't report anything, but it reports with the exit value. It exits with different values based on the result. Right? And how do you know like what is the exit value of the previous command? So that is available in the form of something called $question mark. $question mark. This $question will give you what is the exit value of the previous command. So while writing your C programs and all that, you might be using exit of 1, exit of 2 and all that. So that the same value is going to be exited, is going to be returned back to the shell. So the exit value of the previous command is 1 actually. So normally whenever any command is exited in a normal form, it always exits with 0 actually. Normal termination is considered as 0. Abnormal termination is considered with different values other than 0. This is a failure. That's what you mean by. The test has failed. The test has failed that marks.txt is not a directory. Is not a directory. So you can actually execute 2 commands in the same line in this particular fashion. You want to run 2 commands in the same line, let us say. There is something called a semicolon. Command 1, semicolon, command 2. Then what it does? It executes the first command followed by the second command. So let me just simply put that echo in the same line. So now also you will get 1 only, that's okay. So you are trying to now verify whether it is a directory or not. Instead of verifying with a directory, you verify with a file, whether it is a file or not. Right? Now you will get a 0, meaning that if exit value is 0, the test condition is successful. It's true actually. The test condition is true. It's true that marks.txt is a file. The same thing can as well be done by using a square bracket also. You can use like this, like this, like this. So test followed by that, or the same thing kept inside the square brackets, or one and the same. These things you are going to use in your control structures by using if this condition, do something, otherwise do something else. So test is going to be very handy in your shell programming while going through control structures and all that, which we will actually go into like by writing some simple programs and all that. Anyhow. So let us write a small shell program. Probably I have already written some of them. Let us learn those things and go into the details later. So you can pass the arguments to the command line, arguments to the shell. There is something called args.sh. Right? There is something called args.sh. I put so many things. I think probably if you can understand, it will be wonderful there. But several features are discussed there. May not be the right thing right now. But okay, like we'll take up a small example. Let us say multiplication table, right? We want to print the multiplication table for a particular number. That is our shell program requirement. So that means probably M table. M table is the name of this thing. So whenever you issue, like for example, sh followed by M table dot sh followed by a number like this. When you give, it should print 5 times 1 equal to 5, 5 times 2 equal to 10, 5 3 is 15, and so on like that. So that is the requirement. We want to write a small shell program for that. So because there is a repetition there, 5 times 1, 5 times 2, and so on, definitely we require some kind of control structure. We can use a for loop, or we can use a while loop, and some of those things. So let us understand and learn all of them in today's class. And after next class, we will write many shell programs. mtable.sh. So let us write a corresponding thing. Okay. So whenever you write any shell programs and all that, the first line normally it is a practice to put a hash, a not symbol, followed by bin and then bash. Essentially, what you are telling is that the following lines are to be executed by this particular program. What are you going to write in the following lines? You are going to write the commands actually. The commands can be executed by the bash. That's why you are putting this hash not bin bash. This you have to put in the first line. So that way you are instructing that this is going to be executed by that. You can put any command there, but then the following things are going to be interpreted by that particular. The following lines becomes the input for that particular command. Anyhow, so let us see now. This is this particular thing. Let me save it. After that we'll write. So now the name of this is mtable.sh. mtable.sh. Right. So immediately it's giving color and all that. So what is our requirement? We will pass one single parameter, and that parameter is available in the parameter this thing $1. That's going to be available in $1 naturally. And you want to repeat now, right? So there is a control structure called for loop. So you can say here for, right? There are different types of for loops in here actually. It can be done in different ways. Anyhow, so 1, 2, and so on, that particular fashion. Let us use the C style for loop, and after that other things we will. So for loop here, even though a single parenthesis is required in C language, whereas here you have to use 2 parentheses, because the normal parenthesis has got other meanings. So we will discuss about that later. Single parenthesis has got a separate meaning. So that's why, which is there right now, right in shell and all that. So you have to use 2 parentheses, all of them in without any spaces and all that. Remember. Now, I is equal to, right, 1, semicolon. I less than, including 10 we want, so I less than 11, I plus plus. So these are the variables. I is a variable. So you are initializing with 1 and all that particular. So that you should know. But remember now, you are not going to use the curly brace. Curly brace has got special purpose. So for loops in the shell programs and all, their what it is starting, what it is symbol is do actually, not a curly brace beginning, but you have to use do there. For all these values of I taking from 1 to 11, do the following. Do up to what? Up to done. Done is the ending of the for loop. Do is the beginning of the for loop. Right? In between, you can put all the commands. In between, you can put all the commands. So what is the command now that we have to put? So probably this echo. So echo is what we normally do it. But printf also can be done. We will discuss about it printf later. Echo. What is to be echoed now? For the like parameter. So table, right? So $1 is your parameter, what you are going to get. This mtable.sh, whenever you call it with a parameter, that parameter is available in $1. So $1 means your 5 or 10, whatever that you pass on, that particular thing. And after that, you have to multiply, right? So you say reverse slash star. Star should be displayed as star only, no multiplication. Star should be displayed as star. And after that, what? 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, and so on. That means the value of I. The value of I is $I. $I. And then equals. So equals has got no meaning. So you can say equals. And then now the calculation part. Calculation, to do that, you have to use dollar followed by like this. What is the calculation part here? $1 times $I. $1 times $I. Right? Bracket. That's it. So this is all what you have to do. So if you want to have some kind of what I call preamble kind of thing, you can always put here echo multiplication table for $. Like this. Right? All of you, I think, you're slowly following. So every language will have its own syntax. You have to give respect that and then use in that particular sense. So now I am saving it. So where did we save it? We'll have to, so it is saved in MP only. It is saved in MP only. No issue. So now come back to this particular. From here you will have to. So you can see like what it is, mtable.sh is there. So we can run this straight away, in fact, by just simply saying sh, right? The command is sh now. You are using the shell as a command and then passing a file name to that. This is one way actually. This is one way of executing that. Followed by this. And then the multiplication table for 6. So you are passing the 6 as a command line argument. And then do it. So line number 3, there is a bad for loop variable. Bad for loop variable. There is some problem in line number 3. Let us look into that. What is the problem? For of I equal to 1, I less than 11, I plus plus. For of all that. So we have to understand now whether, as you know, this is available only in bash actually, not in normal shell like Bond shell. Maybe that may be one possibility actually. So here let me call it as bash actually. Bash followed by like this. Right? So this is the actual problem. There is a command called sh also, but that sh is a Bond shell. Bond shell has got no knowledge of this extended for loop. Whereas the Bond again shell, which is there in your syllabus and all that. All of you are there? Someone wants to join. Please, Aarti Shinde is coming now. So there is a problem with this lady, Aarti Shinde. So I have already sent like all these things. Like there is no problem to the other students. Only she is having a problem to join. Probably she is using a mail ID that's not given to me. So that's why it is not allowing. So you tell her to give me a mail, giving the right kind of mail ID. Right? Some of you, a friend of R.C. Shinde, in case she is a valid student, so let her contact me by sending a mail. So last class also I admitted, in fact, I am doing that, but still there is a problem. Okay. Coming back to this now. So this is how you can actually do that. It is a such a simple thing. Such a simple thing. This is one way of looking at it. Even though you have put there all that, you can run this as a command also. In fact, you can run this as a command also. But that, like as you can see, the long listing of this particular file, when you take a look into long listing, like this. So what permissions do we have to the mtable.sh? Only read-write permission, read-write permission. If we give executable permission to this, then you can run this as a command straight away. You don't have to give then bash or sh and all that, right? So we will give executable permission to this particular file. And how do you give the executable permission to a file? There is a command to do that, which is called chmod. Change the permission mode of a file. Chmod. And then like the syntax for that is user. So there are user group and others. Three areas. Read, write, right? To the user, you want to give the executable permission. So the syntax for that is U stands for user. You want to add. That means plus. You are adding a new permission. What is the new permission? Executable permission. To the user, you add the executable permission. To which file are you interested? mtable.sh. If you want to give even to the group members also, then you say UG plus X. Others also you want, you say UGO plus X. Or you can say A plus X. A stands for all. Not only others, user, group, as well as others. All of them. A plus X also you can actually do that. So by giving like this now if you see here, it is colored in green now. It is executable file. Now you don't have to give even what I call bash and all that. Straight away, like this you can give mtable.sh followed by 6. Like this. Command not for. Because probably the current directory is not there as a part of the path. So that's why you have to give /. So you are giving the exact path because the current directory is not there in the path maybe. Because if you set it, then you don't require it. But right now it is there in the current directory. So it's a / mtable.sh. So you are getting multiplication table for 6. Whatever, or instead of 6, you say 65, you are going to get all these things. So this is your shell programming now. So you are putting whatever commands that you have been practicing, all of them, you put all of them into a file and then run it. The first line you are putting that, right? The first line you are putting /bin/bash and all these details. So normally shell programming and these special operators, they are a little bit clumsy, no doubt. But once you understand, there is no issue, right? So Perl and other languages, they use so many operators which having special meaning and all that. So if you understand slowly, it becomes easy for you. Right? So start coming to the next class by going through some of the shell programs or control structures, tests and all that. Material is available to you. You come with preparation and ask doubts, you can enhance your learning. Probably today we will stop at this stage unless you have any doubts. I think as usual, you may not have any doubts. Okay. Shall I close the session then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm just stopping the recording.